Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup Council. Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day wherever we are around the world. And welcome back to yet another match preview show for you guys this evening. It is coming thick and fast for Liverpool, despite, of course, us suffering our fourth consecutive defeat on the weekend to Manchester United. It has been a few days from then. But look, we are here to talk about the Champions League and to focus on another competition that hopefully Liverpool can bounce back in. Of course, last time out in the Champions League, losing to Galatasaray, and pretty much what has been the same type of story for Liverpool, crossing over from the Premier League. You know, when we talk about Liverpool creating some chances, but looking just completely lost and no identity at the moment. And of course, we'll talk about that in today's video. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts on, of course, the Champions League. Obviously, Liverpool going away to Frankfurt. And of course, we'll talk all about injury news and so on as well. But I want to, kickstart the show talking to you guys about how, look, it is a couple of days on from Manchester United. It's still... I don't know about you guys, but I still feel annoyed about that game and how we didn't, we looked so unlike Liverpool. Like, we didn't look anything like what we did last season. It's like if we've gone from this controlled, well-oiled machine to a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of no one that can figure out what to do at the moment. And, watching a few clips back from the weekend and looking at our build-up, and I'm like, what is this? It's non-existent. The midfield is non-existent. Again, our fullbacks are terrible. And I look at it and I go, look, everyone, I think apart from Liverpool, have criticised the new signings in terms of Isak, Florian Wirtz more in particular. And I'm like, how on earth are you expecting these types of players to thrive and show their capabilities of being added to this Liverpool squad if the original players from last season ain't really stepping up to the plate? And I think, a big talking point, I think, going into this game is whether or not you drop Mohamed Salah. And I think a lot of people from Sunday has had the same conversations around, should Mo Salah be playing against Frankfurt, on the weekend? Tomorrow, I should say, not the weekend. But yeah, should he be playing? And in my opinion, no, he shouldn't be. If we're talking based on form, Mohamed Salah has been awful this season. And I think Sunday, yet again, showed he's had a terrible start to the season, his worst ever start in a Liverpool shirt at the beginning of a season. So I think, look, of course, the stature that Mohamed Salah has built over the years, look, he his own records write itself. But at the moment, we're talking about a player that deserves to be in the team. Mohamed Salah doesn't, in my opinion. And look, for me, I think the player that does deserve to start is Federico Chiesa. I think when we talk about Arne Slot being ruthless, and I think since the start of the last season, I think he's been very much no nonsense manager in terms of he will be ruthless in certain criteria. Of course, we've seen it last year. Drell Konza getting substituted at halftime away to Ipswich. Certain other situations that we've seen it since Arne Slot's become Liverpool manager. And I think now he has to do it with Mohamed Salah because, look, in my opinion, Federico Chiesa, he came on against Manchester United. Straight away, Liverpool looked more energised, and he looked like he was ready for a fight. In terms of fighting for the team, wanted to defend, wanted to press as well. Mohamed Salah's not done that so far this season, in my opinion. And look, last season, he broke every record, didn't he, in the Premier League? And of course, when you're doing that, you don't have to do the hard work. You don't have to do the nitty-gritty work. But when your team is struggling, like Liverpool are at the moment, again, Mohamed Salah is not helping Liverpool's case. And look, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, look, I want Mohamed Salah completely out this Liverpool team. Absolutely not. But I think there's two ways you go around this type of situation. It's either A, you play him in form and hope that he, gets back to the Mohamed Salah of last season, or you drop him, and that's the the other way around it as well, that you drop Mohamed Salah and then hopefully then he refines his form by losing his place in the Liverpool team. But I think that's the big talking point going into this game, of course. But on an injury side of things, it does look like the Ryan Gravenberch will not be available for the game tomorrow. Of course, he did come off with a slight ankle injury, which again looks like it has caught up to him in terms of not being available for Liverpool. It also looks like that, again, judging by certain people, it could be 1 or 2 week injury, which again is not great for Liverpool with all the games we got coming up, and especially now the question mark will be who plays in the six tomorrow at Frankfurt, because again Wataru Endo's only just coming back from his own injury. So in my opinion, I think it's either going to be Alexis McAllister in the six, or we could very well see Curtis Jones playing as the six for Liverpool, kind of what we've seen in the second half, where Curtis Jones was the deeper of the two midfielders, of course, in that 4-2-4. But in my opinion, I think it will be Curtis Jones. I think Curtis Jones could be a vital player for Liverpool, and how maybe Arne does change things around in Liverpool's midfield, because at the moment, I look at it and go, the guarantees, in my opinion, and the guaranteed starters in there at the moment is Florian Wirtz, number one name in the team sheet, has to be in there, because ever since we've changed it where he's not played as the 10 for Liverpool, Liverpool have lost games. Liverpool have not been able to thrive as much. And even when you looked at what was it, the 27 minutes he came on for in the Manchester United game, he created Liverpool's most chances. I think it was like 5 or 6 from 27 minutes, which again is pretty decent going considering the fact Liverpool were chasing a goal for so long and then, of course, unfortunately conceded. But in an overall sense as well, of course, huge night for Hugo Ekitike, returning back to, of course, his former club. And looking at Frankfurt as well, decent team. Of course, they would have had a lot of money to reinvest in the summer. Of course, I think this season, I think they haven't hit the ground running so much. I think, when you look at potentially their fixture list, I'm looking at it right now. Again, they've had 3 defeats in the last 5. In the Bundesliga alone, of course, they are 7th. 7 games played, 3 games won, 1 draw, and 3 defeats. But again, when we look at it, 3 of them have been in the last 5 games. So again, looking at their previous results against Union Berlin, they lost 4-3. They beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 6-4, which again, when we look at Liverpool this season, it's been pretty much back and forth, hasn't it, in terms of goals. They lost to Atletico Madrid 5-1. They lost to Bayern Munich 3-0. And again, they drew their latest game 2-2 as well. So look, we can probably expect a very high scoring game between Liverpool and Frankfurt for this game. But look, speaking about Hugo Ekitike, in my opinion, I think Hugo will start for Liverpool. Again, let me know your starting and predictions in the comments. But in my opinion, I think Hugo will start, and there's no doubts about that. Again, he's probably been the best out of the signings, I think, this summer so far. But in terms of starting 11 predictions, I'd possibly go Mamardashvili in goal, Jeremy Frimpong right back, Kanate alongside Virgil van Dijk, and then I think Andy Robertson comes back into the team. I think you need that type of experience back in your team. And there's also a conversation of, do you now start playing Robbo a bit more, because again, a lot of people have heavily criticised Milos Kerkez, and do you allow him to maybe bed himself in a bit more before again thriving at that left back position? Again, it'd be interesting to see what Arne Slot does. I think midfield, in my opinion, I think you have to go Curtis Jones, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Florian Wirtz. Of course, like I mentioned, Alexis McAllister could be involved in terms of the 6. So again, what do you do in that type of situation? Do you have Curtis Jones play alongside McAllister? Again, I think we did see that a couple of times last season. So, but even still, I think Curtis Jones and Florian Wirtz, I think they are guaranteed starters in this game. But I think then the other position that you're going to have to talk about is whether or not it's going to be Dominic Szoboszlai or is it going to be Alexis McAllister. And I think if you're going to pick out the 2 at the moment, I think you go with Dom over Maka at the minute, because again, Maka is not performing to his capabilities as well. And then the front 3, in my opinion, I think you probably go Cody Gakpo on the left, Hugo Ekitike up top, and you go Federico Chiesa on the right at the moment. Again, you could put Alexander Isak as a striker. You could put Hugo Ekitike left wing. We could possibly see that, because again, Cody Gakpo has played a lot of football. But in my opinion, I think it will be Cody on the left starting. I think it'll be Hugo up top. And then I do think it will be Federico Chiesa on the right for Liverpool as well. But when we talk about consistency within the starting 11, again, though, I think for me, Federico Chiesa deserves to start for Liverpool against Frankfurt, and hopefully will do for Arne Slot as well. But again, look, it's going to be a tough game. Champions League games are always difficult, no matter the opponent. So, look, I'm going to go Liverpool. I think will beat the curse. I don't think it'll be 5 consecutive defeats. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool, just because Frankfurt have conceded a load of goals. So have Liverpool, to be fair, over the last couple of games. So, look, I could possibly just say, look, it's going to be a 4-4 draw. That would be insane, but probably very likely between the two teams. So, look, in my opinion, I think we'll win 3-1. I think Hugo will score. I think Florian Wirtz will also score. And I also think Virgil van Dijk to get a headed goal as well. But, again, the main thing for me is results. It's not so much performance at the minute. It is about result based, because again, 4 defeats off the 4 consecutive defeats, I should say. It's not great. The feeling hasn't been great since Sunday either. And hopefully we can change that on tomorrow night against Frankfurt. Of course, there was no press conference either from Arne Slot this afternoon, because there was a problem with Liverpool's plane flying to Frankfurt. So hopefully, as he safe travels to the Reds, of course. But I believe there was just a plane error, of course, and they haven't flown out yet. As time of recording, it is about 7 o'clock. So hopefully we'll find out some bit more news about that, of course. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'll be very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts, because look, it has been a very horrible time as of late. Liverpool started the season amazingly, getting, 5-6 wins. And then, the last 4 games have been horrific, let's be perfectly honest. So hopefully we can get back to normality, and hopefully Liverpool winning games, and hopefully looking like our old selves, really. And hopefully Arne Slot can figure out what is going wrong with this Liverpool team. But like I said, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'll be very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments, because again, I want to know all your guys' thoughts. If you're a Frankfurt fan, Liverpool fan, or just a general fan, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. But until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the COP Council. We'll see you guys in a bit. Ta-ra.